All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Danbury Hat Tricks YouTube channel. I'm your host, Casey Bryant, and with me, beside me, is the new head coach of the Danbury Hat Tricks, Anthony Bohn. We're so excited to have Anthony as part of our organization, and while we aren't able to have our usual tradition of a friendly meet and greet with all of our fans, it's nice that we're at least be able to connect virtually over YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you putting this on, Casey, and I'm excited to meet our fans. And now having a target date of December 18th, get this going.
Absolutely. The season is set to start on December 18th. Be sure to be on the lookout for all schedule updates. You can join our mailing list at danburyhattricks.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel and subscribe to our social media at Danbury Hat Tricks for all important updates going forward. So, Anthony, you join us from the ECHL Maine Mariners, which is an affiliate of the New York Rangers. You've also been a head coach at the NA3 level, an assistant coach at the NA level. You've been all around the hockey world, it seems.
Yeah.
What's your first impressions of the Hat City here?
To be honest with you, the biggest thing that I've noticed is just the great people. Like, great people in the building, our area, getting to meet some of the sponsors and get out there, restaurants and whatnot. Like, it's phenomenal, and I'm happy to be part of it.
You know, it's funny because there's so much construction going on from last year, still going on now. We're actually just putting in an arcade down at the main level of
my kids would love that.
My entire interview prep, just so you know, was about a half hour on Miss Pac-Man.
Okay.
That's how I got mentally ready.
Yeah. I'm not good at that game.
Is there a game that you're good at?
No, I'm not.
You're not a gamer at all?
No, I'm not.
Really?
No.
I find that surprising.
I'm outside with my kids 90% of the time, running around and wrestling.
All right, showing off.
Yeah.
Look at Mr. Active over here. So coming in now as the head coach of this is your first pro head coaching job, and you've got some big shoes to fill here because our general manager, Billy McCreary, won FPHL Coach of the Year last year. So what are you most looking forward to about this season?
Well, first off, I feel extremely fortunate to be in Danbury and to step into a situation with a good group of players returning, and that's probably the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is just working with these guys and the success that they laid down last year, the foundation, the environment, the culture, and to be able to help build upon that with Billy as our general manager and to continue the growth of hockey in Danbury and to continue the success.
Yeah, and we're all really excited now, especially now that we have a start date. And if you have a question, of course, for Anthony, I'll have a couple myself. But if you, the fans, have any questions out there, feel free to drop a comment in our YouTube chat. It is open, so we'll be keeping an eye out for that. Speaking of Billy McCreary, Billy, had a certain signature look on the bench last year. He had the three-piece suits. He had the Biltmore fedora. I think that's what the kids call stees nowadays, the drip. Do you have a style, a game day look?
I don't. Not as specific as his. I just try to put on the best suit I can, and then hopefully that looks good.
The face does most of the work, right?
I hope so.
That's the moneymaker.
Yeah.
And Billy also took a couple shifts last year. So are we going to see that this year?
You won't be seeing that from me. He's got a lot more courage to hop in there with those guys. And then with everything going on this year in the landscape of minor professional hockey, like leave the hockey to them. That's what they do, and I'll be behind the bench.
Most importantly, though, in a game of 3-bar, who wins, you or Billy? You can be
I'm
honest.
I'm gonna take it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And from last year's roster, this was a team that won the Eastern Division title last year. Unfortunately, didn't get a chance at the Commissioner's Cup because our postseason was canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. But this was one of the strongest teams in the FPHL last year. Now, not everyone's re-signing is official, but you are retaining a big chunk of the core from last year that made this team successful. What are you most excited about of this group?
Yeah, like right from the get-go, that was our goal, Billy and I, to bring back that core, to keep that foundation and that culture alive. And then with the recruiting process during the COVID and everything going on, we're trying to make sure that we're bringing in the right guys who fit into that mold of what we already have and to build on it. So we're extremely excited with the group of players that are coming back, which I've met a couple, but I haven't got a chance to meet everybody. We keep in close contact with regular Zoom calls, texts, emails. So the lines of communication have been open, and they've been fantastic with everything, with the patience of trying to figure out the start date. And the most important thing I'm looking forward to is getting back to the norm and being on the ice and going through it with those guys.
And you can really sense the anticipation from the players as well. We had an interview on our YouTube channel earlier this summer with defenseman Aaron Atwell, who is one of the FPHL Defenders of the Year, and there's just such a sense of anticipation from the guys as well that resonates from that room.
Absolutely. And I think one thing we can all take away, and we've talked about this when we do our Zoom calls as a group, is we can't take anything for granted now with the landscape of the pandemic going on and all that, you know, we get an opportunity to come and do something that we love every day, and everyone says that, but then when the rug gets pulled out from under you, when it all goes on and you got a chance to make a deep run, you don't get that time back. So we're trying to make sure that we take advantage of every day that we're together and to have some success.
We have a question coming here from the YouTube chat from user Rogue Gamer Dragon. I'm a new fan, and I'm not from Danbury, of which we have many new fans because of our newfound online fame here.
That's all you.
Who are the team's biggest rivals? Who's the opponent that we're circling the calendar to face this year?
To be honest with you, it'd be tough for me to point out one.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like with the amount of teams in the league, everyone's pretty tight against one another. But
right. I feel like Elmira was one last year.
I was just going to mention that the fans have kind of poked about Elmira and whatnot, so I'll go with Elmira as one of the teams.
The Enforcers are one of the toughest division opponents. They were the FPHL East Division representatives in the last Commissioner's Cup played in 2019. And, of course, they have an FPHL legend in Ahmed Mahfouz, who is one of those guys where you love him if he's on your team, but oh boy, oh boy, if he's against you, you really hate to see him on the other end of the ice.
Yeah, I'll leave that to Section 102.
So now, speaking about your hockey career specifically, you've kind of been all over the map. You know, as we mentioned before, you've been in Maine, you've been in Aberdeen, you've been in Topeka, you've been in Atlanta. What's been your favorite stop so far? What's your favorite city that you've been in?
You know, one, I've been very fortunate to be all in good places with good people, which I'm extremely fortunate about. And they all hold a special place in my heart, different things that have gone on, like Atlanta. My kids were born in downtown Atlanta.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then when they're 2 months old, 3 months old, we moved to Aberdeen, South Dakota. You know, the food in El Paso, Texas, where I got my coaching career, is fantastic. Also, Portland, Maine, you can't count that out for food. The seafood up there and what they have to offer in downtown, like, it's phenomenal. But they all hold a special place for sure because there's been different things. My kids learned how to walk in Aberdeen. So personal and professional, there's some good moments, and I'm proud of all the stops and been fortunate.
You know, you said that your kids were born in Atlanta and you moved them at such a young age. I think you did them a favor by sparing them of growing up Atlanta sports fans.
Yeah,
that's a rough landscape right now. Between the Falcons, the Bulldogs, the Braves, it's just
it's tough.
It's just a big head shaker. Coming from Maine, which is an affiliate of the New York Rangers, that's a very prestigious organization, and with us being based in Western Connecticut, this is still Rangers territory. Once you go a little further east on I-84, you start to hit Bruins territory. But so for fans of the New York Rangers, what, if anything, trickles down from the Rangers organization down to Maine for one of their affiliate clubs? What's it like being part of that organization?
Yeah, absolutely. It's first class all the way. They're very professional ran, with Danny Briere being essentially our GM in Maine, and Chris Drury being the GM in Hartford and assistant GM for New York, and their connection from their playing days. The lines of communication are extremely open. I didn't have much personal contact with Chris. That was Danny and Riley, our head coach. But the level of professionalism and how they treat their guys, and just the overall big picture of what they're looking for in developing their players to get through the certain levels to get to the National Hockey League is phenomenal. And I was very fortunate to be there for 2 years and be part of that, and especially the first 2 years in Maine. That was awesome.
One of our fans, Sam Tracy, asks, what are you going to miss about Portland?
Ooh.
You mentioned the seafood.
Yeah, I'll miss the food. It's an awesome little town that has all the different spots and little things. So I won't miss the snow. They get a lot of snow, but the food is phenomenal, and the people there. I working with Riley Armstrong was phenomenal. Danny Briere as well, and then Cole Libby and Jake Rogers, the support staff, trainer and equipment guy. So, like I said, everywhere I've been, fortunate to be with people like that, good people. And then I'll also miss the food for sure.
One of our other fans here, Christian Gardecki, who also doubles as our PA announcer when our games are going on, he wants to know if you ever came across Pat Bowler, who's a Danbury guy, and what it was like working with Danny Briere, who is a Flyer working within the Rangers organization behind enemy lines.
Yeah. Well, I know Pat. I actually saw him on Sunday in Danbury Arena.
Yeah?
Yeah. So, Pat's awesome. He usually would pop in up to Maine or in Worcester, short trips to come keep an eye on the guys that are down with the Maine Mariners. And then working with Danny Briere was fantastic. Again, the level of professionalism through Spectrum, who owns the Philadelphia Flyers, all the way down to Maine was first class. And just to sit and learn and be a part of those conversations, pick his brain on certain things, again, it's once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and it was fantastic, and I cherished my time there.
Which is another funny thing. You said that Spectrum, the owner of the Flyers, owns the Maine Mariners. It will never not be funnier to me that the Flyers own an affiliate of the Rangers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just... It seems off to me, but that's
I know.
I'll leave it be.
I know.
It's also very fortunate that you have been able to grow up in your hockey coaching tenures around guys like Danny Briere and professionals that have reached that highest rung. And you're also a student of the coaching game, because I've been in your office. You have a mountain of books on coaching. There's so many in your office. I see Nick Saban was in there. I saw John Wooden was in there. You've got the Behind the Benches book from Craig Custance. Does that help you soaking in all of that information and getting different perspectives on coaching?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just picking different things from different people, and some of them are psychological books, some are coaching books. So being able to read and pick up on certain things that people do that might work for them, that you try in your own personality as a coach, has been phenomenal, and it's kind of shaped my philosophy. And then you read something new and something tweaks that, and you're just trying to be the best that you can, and that's my goal every year. And you're just trying to improve as a coach, and so that you're good for your guys, the players.
Do you remember what the most recent one you read was?
I read 11 Rings by Phil Jackson.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was good. It was good. I wanted to dig a little deeper after The Last Dance.
Of course.
So I did read that one. And the psychological part of how he handled those personalities and talents, which is at the highest level, is phenomenal. And so, yeah, just trying to learn every day. The biggest thing.
And you can just close the chapter when it gets to the New York Knicks, when it comes to Phil Jackson. We have a question here from a fan. Luke Bowers from Johnstown, PA, asks, what is the biggest challenge facing you in your first pro head coaching job?
Yeah, I wish I can have a better answer for you, but we haven't started officially yet in the grind of it every day. I guess the biggest challenge I've faced so far has been just trying to keep everybody optimistic and positive and patient through all this COVID. And that's a credit to the guys. We try to keep the lines of communication open constantly, so that nothing's left in the dark, so no one's thinking of negative, and so we're trying to keep it all open, transparent, and the boys were pretty excited once we saw the tentative date come out, and okay, this is when we're going to report, this is the plan. So the biggest challenge so far has been trying to gather them and keep them focused and positive on playing this year.
Which leads into another fan question that we have from Andrea Rendo, which is, how is the team handling the pandemic with everything going on? We feel comfortable sitting close enough like this as it is, because we've both tested negative very recently. But is it affecting the mental game at all? How does that mentality kind of take shape within the locker room?
Yeah, well, what is that, Worcester Hockey, the local high school team from
Yeah.
the Rendo family there. Yeah, and that's why we try to keep it as often as possible with the communication and Zoom calls and trying to keep them on the task at hand. And as of right now is staying safe, keeping things simple, doing the right things, following the protocols wherever they're at, and then keeping them focused on the North Star, which is getting back to Danbury and playing hockey again. So I know sometimes there's some confusing conversations to try to keep everybody on the straight and narrow, but it's gone extremely well so far. And again, like, that's a credit to those guys to be wanting to come back here to play, hopefully in front of a large crowd once we can, back in Danbury Arena, and provide a good product.
A question here from Hayredden Barbarossa. How would you describe your style of coaching?
Well, I'd like to think that I'm firm but fair, structured. I'm not going to demand something out of somebody else that I wouldn't be willing to do. So we would definitely be putting our guys through a structured day, off the ice, on the ice, with our team structure as well. But let them do their thing within our team concepts and get them to do it at the highest rate of work possible. That's my philosophy.
That's fair. Another fan question here from Harry Bryant. Hello, Dad.
Hey, Dad.
He wants to know what your least favorite road trip has been across your playing career or coaching career. Everyone seems to have one story about those bus trips gone wrong.
Man. I don't know. I enjoy the grind of it. Like,
yeah?
I don't know. Like, there's been long ones. Yeah, like.
What's the longest you remember?
I believe it was last year, we did like a 8 or 9 day in St. John's, Newfoundland, and we flew to Montreal. Our bags got lost.
Oh,
then
geez.
you hop on the bus and we drove to Adirondack. Like that. Like, it just ended up. Oh, and then we had like 8 games in 10 days going to Adirondack, Worcester, and Brampton.
Sheesh. That's like what the playoff baseball schedule is right now.
Yeah. So it is what it is, and it's tough on the guys, which is the most important part, and kudos to them for when you do pull out wins. It's like, how do you do? Like, that's unbelievable. But yeah, like, at the end of the day, like, I love it. It's part of the grind. I want to be part of it, so it's awesome.
Travel doesn't seem to be much of an issue for you, too, because I remember when you and I were first getting introduced earlier this month, you had said that you came from Danbury after driving from Montana, which is across the country.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to say that was a nice trip. But, you do what you have to do. And, yeah, it was interesting, and it was nice. I got a chance to stop at my alma mater at St. Mary's in Winona, Minnesota, and speak to the team and get to see old faces and whatnot, so that was great. And then, yeah, part of the deal, and it's
what you sign up for.
Yeah, and it's been done a million times before with all the moves and that. So, but yeah, I'm excited to be here. That's the biggest thing. Once I pulled into the La Quinta Hotel and you see Danbury Arena again, it gets you excited and blood boiling.
And when you're a coach at this kind of level of minor league hockey, the whole goal is to get people to move on to another space. When you're in the ECHL, you're trying to get your players to the AHL and the NHL and try to get them moving up the ladder. Especially now with the way that the SPHL has cut their number of teams in half, there's a very real possibility that you could be sending one of your players here at the FPHL up to the EC or even the A. That those have now become attainable goals. So what experience are you going to take from the EC to try to get those guys to the next level where they need to be?
Yeah, with the landscape of minor pro hockey right now, it's definitely tough to be a player. But in saying that, the guys that we'll have here in Danbury, I think will be at a quality that an East Coast League team will be able to lean on and be able to count on when they do run into injuries and whatnot. And the biggest thing I've noticed when guys did get called up is to do the things like you're not on the power play, you're not on the penalty kill, you're playing limited minutes, 5-on-5, and like how do you be productive?
Right.
You know, like are you finishing hits? Are you, tracking? Are you doing those things that, I mean, quite frankly, some guys just don't want to do?
Sure.
And if you're getting that opportunity at an East Coast League level, like you're doing everything you can to stay. So stressing those important details and habits out here hopefully leads to guys sticking at a level like that.
And plus, we've already added to the Hat Tricks organization several players from those upper levels who are looking for a spot to play. Earlier this week, we signed Evan Schultz, who was a forward. We've signed Pete DeSalvo, who was the goalie for Quad City, who has about as impressive an elite prospects page as they come. You also have Tom Mealy coming in, who has ECHL experience, and brother of player-coach Steve Mealy. Yeah. This is quite the roster that you're assembling here with guys that are kind of trickling down and now looking for that spot to play. Danbury's becoming that hot spot.
Well, I will tell you we've been fortunate with what's been the foundation that's been laid here last year and the success that that group had. So to be able to attract some of those guys definitely helps. And we're trying to bring in the right guys, not just guys that are floating around that have had that experience. So
Sure.
We feel the guys that we've signed already and the guys that we're in communication with are the guys that we want to bring in to play the Danbury way. That's the most important thing.
And when you say the right guys, there are two guys in particular here that one of our fans, Hunter Brewy, has singled out. One of them has re-signed. The other one hasn't put in his tender yet. Phil Brauner and Nicola Levesque. They were the two fan favorites here from last year. What do you anticipate their role being next year?
I think those are the quintessential Danbury way guys, right? They are just guys who are leaders in the room. They're leaders off the ice. I was fortunate to meet Phil during the summer. I haven't met Nick yet, but we've talked quite a few times. We're going to lean on them heavily in the beginning of the year for sure, because at the same time, we will have a good mix of young guys, and they're going to be looking towards guys like that, leaders to show them the way, show them what we want, what we're looking to do. So I'm excited to get those two guys back, and I think it's going to be a phenomenal situation with the mix that we'll have.
A question here from one of our fans: what is your most memorable moment from either your playing or your coaching career?
Wow.
How long have you been playing and involved in hockey, firstly?
Coaching?
Or coaching and going back to your playing days.
I've been coaching for 10 years. This will be my 11th year coaching. Playing like at a high level, like juniors and whatnot, and 4, college 8, so 8 years that way. And
so there's a lot to draw on there.
Yeah. The one that stands out, and it's probably the most recent, or one of the more recent ones, in Aberdeen, we were in the North American League, and we took over a team that we had to try to rebuild and get going in the right direction, which we did with a really young group and some high-end guys. Some that are playing Division I, others, a couple are playing professional hockey now. And it took them a little while to get going, which once they did, you saw the type of players that we had. And the first round of the playoffs, we were able to win in 4 games, and we won in overtime. But the way the goal went in and the way the stadium is in Aberdeen, it's like a dugout, right? So there's suites up above you. Carson Dimhoff rap jams the puck. No one knows that it goes in. All of a sudden, people start jumping. We all start hugging each other because we're not supposed to be there.
Right.
We jump off the bench, and the freeze frame I have in my mind is there's fans hanging from the suites trying to jump down to get to the ice level as quick as they can. They could just go around and go down the stairs, but they're passionate there.
Yeah.
So they hop off, and that's what I picture in my mind. And it was a great moment because to see how far that group came from start to finish and then be rewarded for it, it's awesome.
Well, I tell you, that's not dissimilar to what we have right here. We're in the Fairfield County Bank Suites here at Danbury Arena, and when you go take a step down to that front railing, you lean over, you're on top of the ice.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of one of the defining characteristics of Danbury hockey is the fact that when this place is packed, you can hear everything from up here, and there's some loud, passionate fans here in Danbury, so they're going to be able to hear everything. That's kind of the same kind of style of overlay. It's very old school.
Just picture the benches, player benches under this, and that's what it was like.
Well, I think what might be even more fun is that you've got the penalty boxes right underneath
right.
here. So if you take a bad penalty, you're going to hear about it. If there's a big power play goal scored against you, you're going to feel every reverberation from underneath people's feet.
I'm looking forward to seeing this place packed with fans, that's for sure. Hearing the stories and just getting to meet a couple around town. And we're working on it, just so you know, and we're doing everything. The rink is doing a phenomenal job of following the protocols and doing everything that's necessary, and we are working to get you guys back because we want to make sure that we're playing in front of you. So stay patient, and we're doing everything in our power to make that happen.
Which is a fantastic message because you can even see over my shoulder, you can see the tarps that are covering some of the seats. You know, at the beginning of our NAHL season and our junior hockey season, we were allowing fans in the building. Recently, we've had to scale those attendees back to try to adhere to the state's COVID guidelines. With the tentative start date in December, we're hoping that we're in a spot where we can start allowing people back into the arena and start getting this place filled with fans. In the meantime, we ask that everyone please stay safe and healthy. You know, keep your social distance, stay washing your hands, wear your mask when you're in public, and hopefully we'll be able to get people back in this building soon because I tell you, my favorite memory from last year, as the play-by-play voice last year, it was the last game of the year happened to be our alumni night, where we had a bunch of old faces from the many years of Danbury hockey, going back to the Danbury Trashers of the 2004, 2005 UHL, to the Mad Hatters, to the Whalers, to the Titans. There is a 15-plus year history of hockey here in the Hat City.
Which is phenomenal, by the way.
Yes, absolutely.
It's such to be part of that such great tradition dating back to the Trashers all the way through with all the teams. I feel very fortunate to be part of that and build on that rich history for sure. Yeah,
and that place was almost a sellout, about as close as you can come without sardine packing people in standing room in the corners and blocking the Zambonis. That place was loud, and they were able to win their last game of the year, and it was an exciting one-goal game. And I remember the first goal of the game, I believe it was Nicola Levesque scored, and it was a greasy goal down in front, and the place just went ballistic. That feeling is something I can't wait to get back.
Yeah, no, you got me with goosebumps going right now.
How can you not be romantic about hockey?
I know, right? So I'm excited, and like I said, the front office staff here and the rink staff has done everything in their power to make sure that doors stay open, that we're staying on track, so that when it does get the green light to have fans in here, we're ready for it, and everyone's safe, and we're doing the right things.
Well, we appreciate you coming by and stopping by, taking the time to meet all of our fans. We want to thank everyone for participating in our coaches show here with Anthony Bohn. You'll be seeing a lot more on this YouTube channel going forward, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. You'll get notifications whenever we go live again, because live game streams will be featured right here on this channel. And plus, we have plenty more projects in the works right now that you can follow along. Be sure to follow at Danbury Hat Tricks as well on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for all important updates going forward. Coach, thank you very much for joining us here today.
I appreciate having me, and I appreciate the fans, and we hope to see you very soon.
All right, well, that'll do it here from Danbury Arena. We want to thank everyone for tuning in. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you real soon.